Hey, 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 welcome to day number 16. Always have to look at it, of 21 days of prayer for your business. Today, we are all behind. If you watched any of the other videos, we have got a little routine of what we do. Jeremiah's job is to open it up with holding the book and closing it out with telling you guys to like and subscribe. So anyway, we kind of got off the bat. We kind of got off kilter right off the bat. Words are also hard today, but I'm going to be courageous and I'm going to push on through because that's what we're talking about today. If you don't have the book, it is A-okay. Just join in the conversation. If you would like the book, you can grab it in the description below. And there's also a place for you to download the intro in chapter 1 for free if you'd like to give it a check out first to see what it's all about. But anyway, if you don't have the book, I would love for you to go grab a notebook and a pen because we always love to ask questions and give you a little bit of homework, and today is no exception. So let's dive right in. Be courageous. If you were to start out in your journal, I would love for you to write what you would think the definition of courageous would be. What would you think the definition of courageous is?
Doing something with courage.
Doing something with courage. Being courageous is having courage. It takes courage to be courageous. That's what I say in the study, in the opening paragraph. But actually, it is the act of having courage. And so then you go, okay, let's look up the definition of courage. And that definition is the ability to do something that you know is difficult or dangerous. That is, I feel like we need some...
Dum, dum, dum.
Yes, thank you. That is our dramatic music every time. So I want to start off by asking you to think on some things throughout the course of your life that you have had to be courageous with. Is there anything that came to your mind, a specific season, a particular moment or opportunity that was presented to you? I kind of just begin by saying, actually, there could have been things throughout the course of the study if you've gone through the other videos. If you haven't, I'm going to give you a brief little synopsis. Is it a synopsis?
Synopsis?
Whoa! Words are majorly hard for me today.
I'll tell you what it takes courage to do. Be married to her. The ability to do difficult things.
Hey, I'm an easy person to be married to. Take it back. We need to go back to Family Matters. Okay, but I'm going to go through.
It's a fight.
It is a fight. He's in so much trouble when we get this video over with.
It's fight for your family. That's why I said that.
Okay, so I'm going to go through some of the topics that we've discussed. If you've watched through the video, that's great. Think about it. Like, was there something that took you, to have courage, to process and to walk out that? And if you haven't, it's okay. Just listen to these topics and we're going to kind of go over it. Give God control was the very first video that we did. And I think sometimes it takes courage to give God control because some of us like to have just a little bit of control. Like, I like to have that steering wheel. Getting on a flight, just getting on an airplane knowing I have zero control over this flight, which is actually good because if it wasn't my control, we would be in trouble. But like, just that thought of handing over control is hard. And so it takes courage to do that, to step out. I've mentioned in our videos, like, we're walking through something right now where we're like, Lord, we give you control. Like, honestly, we don't know the answer. We don't know if we should go this route or if we should go this route, but we definitely give you control. And that takes courage because you want to figure out things sometimes in your own mind. So I think that's a great place that you can have courage. Finding freedom from your past. Oh my goodness. Like, that is super, super hard and takes courage. I just had a friend message me with some things that, as she's been walking through this, that she felt like she could see the root. And it takes courage to confront those. It takes courage to go, oh, wow, okay. Because we just want to kind of like hide it and not look at it and just pretend like things didn't happen. But like if we really want to dig in and uproot some things, we're going to have to find freedom from that past. And that takes courage. Figuring out ways that you are uniquely made. That's another video. And if you, as we're going through these, if some of these kind of hit home and you haven't watched that video, I encourage you to go watch it. But figuring out ways that you are uniquely made, I mean, that takes courage. It takes courage to kind of step into things that are your gifts and to confront things that are maybe your weaknesses and just understand, hey, like, it's okay. That's not my strong suit. Catching a vision. Man, whether it is a long-term vision or just seeing the next step right in front of you, it takes courage to step out and to continue to take action and move forward when sometimes you don't see the vision right in front of you. Feel free to interrupt me at any point. Being intentional takes courage. Being intentional takes courage. Always growing, continuing to grow, continuing to spread your wings and like, go after new grounds, all of these things, like that takes courage. Not giving up actually takes courage. That's what we talked about in the day 7 video. Like, so many times it's easier just to give up. It's easier to say, this is too hard. I can't do it. But it takes courage to keep putting another foot in front of the other. Living a life of worship, I mean, I could see where that would take courage. I mean, yeah. But like actually stepping into our God-given gifts is kind of what I look at that. That could take courage. Embracing excellence can for sure take courage. Perfectionism, fighting that perfectionism, that could take courage. Creative problem solving, finding things like obstacles and finding the opportunities that are in those obstacles, that could take courage. Building community could always actually take courage because that's a scary thing sometimes to step out and build relationships, especially if you've got some stuff in your past that hinders you.
Yeah, that takes courage for me because I'm introverted for the most part.
For the most part. Surviving conflict. Hello. That's like courage on steroids because like sometimes you just want to shut down. You don't want to confront it. You don't want to like push through it. Fighting for your family, it can take courage. And then having integrity, like we talked about in our last video, for sure can take courage. And as we are entering in today's topic, being courageous is the act of embracing courage. And so here we have again, even in today's video, being courageous, it takes courage. And so think through that. If you've actually gone through some of these chapters, is there anything for you in any of these chapters that maybe one stood out that took more courage than the other? Like, oh, this was easy. Like this one, that's no problem. But like, whoa, this one was hard. And I have found through the course of the years as people have walked through this, that they'll say that like, whoa, day so-and-so and day so-and-so, whoo, that was hardcore. And so think through that and journal it out in your journal. I had a friend actually message me today who read out some of the stuff that she had journaled. And I love that. Like if you don't have someone that you can actually discuss this with, maybe it's a friend or a spouse, find someone that you can talk through this with, because sometimes it helps you to kind of process it as you talk through it.
Yeah, I know for me, like just relating this back to business, because it's 21 days to prepare for your business. I know it's other things too, but like there's a lot of things in business that are difficult. Like, just getting started is kind of difficult. So it takes courage to do that. Mm-hmm. Getting customers, clients, whatever you call them, people that want your service or product, you got to go out there and get it. And that sometimes takes courage. So in business, I could see where this could really be a good point.
Yeah. I mean, we've worked in an area of a lot of like sales type, career-based things, and that is something that you would hear a lot of people say is like, I mean, this is kind of uncomfortable for me, or it's kind of uncomfortable for me to share, we would always say, well, like, is it uncomfortable for you to share your favorite restaurant? Or is it uncomfortable for you to share your favorite movie? Typically, no, because you're like, oh my gosh, I love this. I believe in it so much. But then sometimes, like, if it's like a dollar sign attached to it, or you feel like there's like something that gets in your head that flips a switch. And so now it's kind of like I put up this barrier, and now it's not like I'm just sharing my favorite movie or my favorite restaurant, when it's really that simple in sales. And I think that's something that we hear a lot. But again, it's going to go back to a lot of things of like, what are your roadblocks in that? And usually your roadblocks are something that is going to take you to have courage to move past it, to get to the other side.
Takes some courage to hear no too. I mean,
Yeah.
you're going to hear some no's. I think all the people that are successful, they really don't they're not fazed by the no's. So it takes courage to get a no, or get a lot of no's before you get a yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's like some kind of statistic, like there's like 7 no's before there's a yes, or I don't know. I mean, there's something out
Whatever
there
that
like that,
statistic
but whatever, you insert the number. But like it's hard, because what happens? You hear no, you hear no, you hear no, you hear no, and then in your head you're like, see, like, I knew this wasn't going to work, whatever. And then, you got to just keep going. It takes courage. It takes courage to realize what your vision is, and then not to give up going after it when stuff gets in the way, or when stuff stops, tries to stop you. The next thing that I go through is that even going through this study, these 21 days, and remember, if you get on day 7 and something life happens and you didn't fail, you're going to pick up on day 8, even if it's like day 15. Even if you're in the next month, it's okay. And that's a good point. Like, that's another thing. People are like, oh, I fell off the bandwagon. No, like, just pick back up. But I remember when we very, very, very first walked through this with people in the business that we were with, I had so many people message that were actually nervous. Like, they had to have courage to even go through this study, which kind of blew my mind. We were in a business that obviously was not like a Christian business of any sort. And so, you kind of filter things. If you are a Christian, you filter it through just like your dynamic of what. But it was interesting because there was a lot of people who maybe weren't Christians that were going through it. I remember I had a girl that was actually, I think, a Buddhist. And she was like, she reached out and she was like, I really want to go through this. And she was like, but I mean, I'm not technically a Christian, so is it okay that I walk through this? Well, heck yeah, it's okay that you walk through this. Like, am I ever going to say no? You can't walk through us praying. Like, please, I want you to walk through this. And it was just interesting, the messages that I would get of people who, said, I grew up in church and I was hurt. I'm kind of nervous about walking through this because I've distanced myself from church and from God because of things that happened in the past, and I'm nervous to walk through this. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So, for some people, it even takes courage to walk through this and to be consistent with it. So, high five for you for being intentional.
I think it takes courage to be open-minded to
Yes.
new ideas or new things. At the juice shop that we own, I'm always like, hey, if you see something, tell me. Like, I'm open to like seeing what we can do about it. Like, because but it kind of takes courage to speak up, and it takes courage to listen to those ideas, and to sort of take a posture of humility and say, I don't know everything, and I can't see everything. A lot of times, the people, especially if you're a manager or owner of something, the people that are actually there in the grind, on the ground, as they say, every day, actually have a much better vision for what's happening. And so I always appreciate it when people have courage to give me an idea, and I'd like to think I have enough courage to listen and to be open-minded to something new.
Yeah, that's so good. We recently, which, we've pretty much already told everybody that matters at this point, but the end of this month, we will be closing on a deal where we're selling our juice shop, our organic juice shop. We're at the end phases. The new owners have been going through all the training, and we just had a meeting this past week with all of the juiceristas and all the shift leaders, everybody who works at the store, and pretty much it's high schoolers to a few in college, so they're younger. And so the new owners were going to be there. We were going to be there, and all of the staff. And I think it had already kind of got out through the grapevine to some of the ones who were working there and made its way around that this was going down. So there was lots of like, oh my gosh, what's happening? And so we all get in the car and head out there. And Elena is our daughter. She is the general manager right now. And she was like, met us outside, and she's like, they're all inside, like everybody's inside. She's like, it's so funny, like the new owners are in the front part of the store, all the workers were in the back part of the store, because like everybody, she's like, it is so awkward in there. And we're like, oh my gosh. And so it was like, we were nervous, the new owners were probably nervous, and then when I walked in, I could just see the look on everybody's, oh bless you.
Okay,
I was like, is everything okay?
I knew it was bound to happen sooner or later.
Oh, goodness. So the new owners were in the other, we were in here, da-da-da-da-da. And so I walk in, and I could see the look on everybody's face, and I was like, this is so uncomfortable. And one of the girls standing next to me, she was like, I am so nervous. And she's like, literally, my hands are shaking. And I was like, why? Like everybody in that moment was having to have courage. It was just so awkward. And I think it's funny though that like in that situation, like, did they even have a clue that we were having to have courage? Did we even have a clue that they were having to have courage? It's like all God's children were having to have courage in this moment. And so it's just, it's so truthful. Like courage is huge. Stepping into that, which leads us into the next topic, is just your comfort zone. Being comfortable is so comfortable. Like, oh, who wouldn't want to be, who wants to not be comfortable? Everybody wants to be comfortable. And so it's like when we step out of our comfort zone, that takes courage. It takes courage. So what is that for you? Like, what were you going to say? I have so many thoughts swirling around in my brain.
First thing that popped into my head was the shower. Turn that water hot. It's so nice. Just in the morning, first thing in the morning, there's nothing better than that. Well, science has shown that cold water is really good for you. It's a dopamine hit, basically.
Yeah.
And so I've been the last 2 minutes of my shower turning it on cold as it'll go. And we have well water here, so it's like coming out of some like 200-foot well, and it is cold, like ice cold, and that is like, it's not comfortable. It's out of my comfort zone, and I'm like, every day, I'm like, come on, and just flip that handle, and then just wait. You have to wait a few seconds for it to get cold, and then it's like,
I've tried it twice. I'll admit I tried it twice, and then I was like, meh. I think I'll just like pause on this one. I actually thought about it today. We've been sitting in the sauna, so we're really trying to focus in on our health and wellness and like be intentional in some areas. And there was this, so we've been doing the sauna. We've been sitting in the sauna, and they say that too with the sauna. Like you need to get to the point where you're uncomfortable, and then you need to push through. Like don't get out when you're comfortable. Like whenever you start getting like, oh, I need to get out. And you were laughing at me today in there because I wasn't even saying anything. I was just zoned in. And
her legs started shaking?
Yeah, I started shaking my leg up and down.
I could tell she was uncomfortable.
Yeah. And so I was like, and I looked at my time and I was like, oh my gosh, we got like 11 more minutes. Like, why is this so difficult today? So I just kept sitting, and he started laughing. I was like, what? It was like, you're uncomfortable. I'm like, yeah, I'm uncomfortable. And so we start just like getting antsy, like, so get me out of here.
That's kind of the visual picture I have in my head of whenever you're choosing to have courage to do something difficult. It's like
pushing through that comfort zone.
Here comes that cold water.
brace yourself. Or like, oh, get through the sauna, get through the
But
heat.
afterwards, it's like
It's worth it.
scientific. You get the dopamine hit. You get the feelings of joy for like a long time after that.
Yeah,
like
with
4
the
or 5
cold.
hours.
He said even with the cold water, even up to 6 hours.
Well, mine's not cold enough for that, but still.
You're like, I'm not going to that. I'm not getting in an ice bath. But seriously, like that is so true. When you push through it, it's like you've almost leveled up in a way. Like you've pushed through it, and you're like, oh, well, that wasn't as bad as what I thought it was. In one of the videos, and I talk about it in the book, I talked about how the very first time I spoke in front of actually spoke in front of 300 people, I just had to say my name, and my legs were shaking so bad, I don't even know how I was standing up there. And like a month or two later, they asked me to speak in front of 10,000 people. And I had been doing a little series and encouraging people to step out of their comfort zone. So all I could hear was, Monique, you've just been telling people to step out of their comfort zone. So I just said yes. And I mean, it was such a like out of body moment when I did that. I mean, like, I don't even know how I got through it. I don't even know how I stood up. It was like walking from backstage up onto that stage. It seemed so big. It was like it took me a mile just to get to where I had to stand, and then my legs, and then my mouth was so, I could just remember my mouth was so dry. I'm like, it felt like you could hear it like she needs somebody to get her some water. She's struggling, right? And so, but once you accomplish that, then you're like, well, I did that. Check that off the list. Okay. So guess what? The next time speaking in front of 300 people wasn't as scary as it was the first time, because I done spoke in front of way more than that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, once you can kind of step out, you realize, well, that wasn't as bad as what I thought it was. I just got to thinking about my parents tell a story when I was in, gosh, I had to have been kindergarten. They had me do some swimming lessons. Have you ever heard that story, the swimming lesson story?
I don't recall.
I don't even know how you've never heard this, but at the end of the swimming lessons, we had to jump off the diving board. Now listen, this probably was not high, but to a kindergartner, it was high. I don't think it was like a high dive, but it was high in my mind. I actually think it was pretty high. Anyway, I got up there and I was not wanting to jump. And apparently I was like clawing at the instructor so much, and I bit them. I was like, you just can't throw me off of this thing. Yeah, so there's that. I did not have courage that day. Maybe that's where my unease of water is from. But so it does. It takes courage. So can you think of times in your own life when you had to step out of your comfort zone? And like, how did that feel? And then how did it feel after you pushed through it? Did you feel like, okay, I've got this, like I can do it? Exercising, things that are...
Yeah, I was thinking about this when I was reading the chapter today, that you sort of equate a lot of things in the chapter as these like big monumental things that you do, have courage to do, and that there are times for that, but a lot of times it's just like embracing the suck every day.
Right.
Like,
well, that's what the definition is.
Yeah.
It says what's just difficult.
Difficult things, not like, it doesn't say like gigantic difficult things. It's just, it can be like that cold shower every day sucks every day. Mm-hmm. And so, sometimes it's just that daily grind of, I'm going to have courage to do today. I'm going to have courage to do tomorrow, and keep on. Mm-hmm. So there's the big moments, but there's also the everyday moments. Yeah.
I mean, even if it's just things that you're back to being intentional, that you're wanting to be intentional with. Maybe it's to walk every day. Maybe it's to exercise. I mean, shoot, go into a big gym full of people and like doing exercises like in front of people, like that's intimidating, right?
It does get easier though.
It does get easier. He goes to the gym. I don't. All I know is one of the last times I had a personal trainer, he kept just saying, your butt is weak. Your butt is weak. And I'm like, there's a lot of people in here, and you were being extremely loud. I know it's weak. They don't all need to know it's weak. I'm like, what is this place? And so that takes, you're like, why did you say that, Monique?
No.
Oh, no,
Funny.
it's
Funny.
funny, Monique.
Applicable.
It's applicable. Anyway, so it does, like, we're kind of just harping on things and kind of running around in circles here, but I hope it opens your eyes up to some things like what are ways that you're trying to have courage and things that you need to step into, even the smallest little things. My dad the other day was talking about, I haven't had a Coke all day. And if you're in the South, a Coke is any type of soda. Any type of soda. And I'm thinking, okay, well, good. That's great. Good for you. And then it's like day 2, he's like, I'm about to die. And he's like, I probably drink 6 Cokes a day. I'm like, oh my gosh, Dad, that is horrible. Like, that is so bad. And it's like, but that does, like, even things like that, that takes courage to do something that's difficult. It's difficult. So I would love for you to journal about that. And then ask the Lord. Seriously, when we really started on this health journey, it is something that I went to the Lord about. I mean, we talk about these topics and it's in kind of in a thing of prayer, but like that is the time to go to the Lord and say, this is hard for me. When we've started on this health journey, like I asked the Lord, I need your help on these things because it is difficult for me. Like, I'm just not been one that naturally does this type of stuff or that enjoys working out or that enjoys eating healthy. Like, it's not the lifestyle I've lived. And so it's out of my comfort zone. It's kind of out of my wheelhouse of knowledge that I thought I had. I feel like I've learned so much, but like I went to the Lord and said, please help me in this area. Please help me. When we started a business 10 years ago, I went to the Lord and said, please help me. Right now in decisions that we're making, Lord, please help me. In selling the juice shop, Lord, like, gosh, please help us. We need you. We need the courage to make this decision to let go of something that we felt like we were supposed to do, but now we're kind of feeling like, what is this? We need you. Help us have courage. What's that verse in the Bible? It doesn't really pertain to this, but it does. It's like, I believe, help me in my unbelief. Like I help me in this. So.
Yeah, the scriptures on the next page are
gosh, yes. Okay.
good for that.
Okay, let's talk about that. 2 Timothy 1:7, write that down. 2 Timothy 1:7, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. Joshua 1:9, have I not commanded you, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Wherever you go. We've been saying that a lot with some decisions that we're trying to make, and it's like, it's just like the Lord is going to be with us. If we go here, the Lord is going to be with us. If we go here, the Lord is going to be with us. Wherever we go, the Lord is going to be with us. And that, I think, as I've been talking to the Lord through all of this time, it's like, if you're not with me, that's when I have a problem. But I can be courageous and not discouraged because you're going to be with me wherever I go. So therefore, that is how I'm courageous. I'm courageous through
Yeah,
Him.
another way you could read that is have the courage to do difficult things, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. And then finally, Isaiah 41:10. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. I love this verse. I love this verse. Not only is he with us, he strengthens us while he's with us. He helps us.
He's our crutch.
Yeah, I mean, he really is. He strengthens us. He holds us up with his righteous right hand. Like, that's that. It's just so good. Meditate and memorize on those verses. And then a little bit of the homework that you can take home with you is share with a friend the areas you are feeling complacent in. Are there just areas that you're feeling complacent? There's been areas that we felt that we've been complacent in, that we've been talking about that, like, Lord, are there just things that we're not stewarding well? What are we not stewarding well? And then at this point, do we need to hand it over? or do we need to, move, or do we need to hand it over, or do we need to steward it well? So ask yourself those questions, journal about it, and share it with a friend. Attempt one thing that scares you. Put yourself out there and trust God to help you walk through it. And then finally, again, what I said earlier, think about times that you've embraced courage, and journal about that, and how did it feel, and did you make it out on the other side? I would think you did, because you're here. Okay,
All
Jared,
right.
take it away.
If you like this video, or you maybe just didn't hate it, give us a big thumbs up. Also, it would really help our channel if you would subscribe. So subscribe. It's fun. And tell your friends so they can join in the fun. And if you're like me and you want to be in the know when a new video gets posted, hit that notification bell for all the notifications.
Yes, we watched one of our things that we subscribed to last night. It was all about growing loquat trees. We are super interesting people.
Travel to gardening.
One day we're watching travel videos. The next day we're trying to learn how to grow a loquat tree. Do you even know what a loquat tree is? Bet you can find it on YouTube.
We have one.
We do have one. So anyway, tomorrow we are talking all about being still. That is, again, one of my favorite chapters. I say it about every chapter. This book study really is so near and dear to my heart. It is so near and dear to my heart. I feel like when we wrote this, like the Lord just taught me so much during the process of it. And so it's fun for us to walk through it now and walk through it with you. So we're just so glad you're around for the journey. Okay, go subscribe, like the video, comment, share all the things, and we're going to see you back here in the next video.